Black on Red presents 20 years of Black on Red, and I've had 10 artists in this whole series. We're having 10 artists in this whole series joining me for a chat. Artists that I believe are the future of music here, and they represent all that's good and hip hop, Afro, R&B, all that kind of stuff. Soul music too, pop, anything really that's pretty funky. And Tomike is joining me today. She's just off the plane as well because she has moved to London from Dublin.
Yeah, I have moved to London.
So congratulations on the move. How has that been?
You.
Only a couple of months?
Literally, I moved about 6 to 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
And yeah, it was something I've always kind of wanted to do for a long time, like post-pandemic. And the pandemic was actually the reason why I didn't do it.
Okay.
So I kind of was just looking for the right time. So I just kind of made like a spontaneous decision one day to just like book flights and work towards the date that I booked.
Cool.
And yeah, and I went through with it, surprisingly to me as well, to be honest.
And one of the reasons is to pursue the music, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, London is more opportunities. We all know that. It's been a move that people in Ireland have made forever.
Yeah.
Not just for musical reasons, but you're one of the producers you were working with is based in London as well?
Yeah, so Jack, who produced my whole EP that I've just released, he's actually based in London. So even when we were making the EP, it consisted of me travelling to London and him travelling to Dublin to kind of get it done. So now we're kind of just both in the same place, and it's just great.
Cool. How's it been so far?
Good, really good. Just making music and meeting new people and just being around creatives. It's great.
Okay, and you're not that far away from Dublin?
No, I'm 45 minutes away on the plane.
Yeah.
And I'm always be back and forth. My family are here. My whole life is here. So like I can't run away from Dublin even if I wanted to, which I don't.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting because your music has been, take it back. So what were your influences as a kid, like as a little girl listening to probably what was the pop music of the day? So tell me about like what was your household like, or what was the first thing you can remember musically?
Yeah, so like my household consisted of a lot of R&B. Like my dad listened to a lot of like Ja Rule and J Lo because they were like popping back then.
Yeah,
and my mom listened to a lot of like Whitney Houston, Anita Baker, Sade.
Wow.
So and then we had like obviously a bit of like African music in the house as well. So Lagbaja, I'm not sure if you know him.
Yeah.
Fela Kuti, Femi Kuti as well. So like just kind of like a bunch of different influences. And
wow.
I used to just watch music channels all the time.
Okay.
So I'd be really exposed to what was popping back then, like you know, which would kind of go from Khalees to Beyonce to Rihanna to Nelly Furtado.
Good era,
just
early
everything.
2000s.
Yeah, really. So
good era to be growing up in, and like your parents are hip to some brilliant music from Nigerian high life, Fela Kuti, the whole family there, and I mean. Even the music you mentioned it, your mum was listening to, like, that's a lot of the greats there, Sade and Anita Baker, and then all the modern R&B coming through, which was all influenced by that anyway. So you can hear a lot of that in your music, because when I first heard you about, would say 4 or 5 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, whenever it was, I was always, and this always never fails to surprise me as someone who's been around the block a little bit, that the younger generation are a lot of them have almost dropped from lots of like 90s, early 2000s influences, and you can definitely give some of the heritage, some of the credit for that, your parents or whatever, of what you've grown up. And no, I appreciate music goes in cycles anyway, but that's cool. You can hear a lot of that in your music. So did you start singing around the house or in church, or were you just doing some stuff in school, or how did it go from there to recording?
So I've always kind of loved singing, loved kind of just singing other people's songs, I guess. And when I was in school, like I do like a lot of talent shows, and I do like school musicals. So like, we did Hairspray, and I was like Motormount My Bell, and like just little things like that. And like I guess my principal kind of always just encouraged me, because I was really shy, still am really shy. Like, but just little things like that. And I went to college because that was what I should have done back then. My parents were like, go to college. And so I went to college, and I didn't do much music in college, but I felt like that gave me more of a drive when I graduated then, because it was like, now I can kind of do what I want to do. So once I graduated from college, I wrote my first song literally in the summer that I graduated.
Wow.
It was so bad. And I just kept like on going, I guess. And then I guess came up with a song that I liked and put it out, went to like Simba's studio to record it for the first time. That was like my first ever experience really. Recorded for the first time, put it out, and like it got radio play, and I was like, oh,
Wow, what a buzz.
maybe I should like keep doing
Yeah.
this. So yeah, that's kind of
Did you
my
feel
journey.
you when you went to Simba, and shout out to Simba
Shout
for
out to Simba.
helping so many artists, and I know you work with Chris Cass, people like that as well. Did you feel that when you got to that setting, that like, as you said, you were shy and stuff, but did you feel when the headphones are on and you're doing your song, did you feel like you kind of, this is me?
Yeah, I definitely did. Like, I definitely did, but I was also really, like, I guess I was really like taken back, and I just didn't like. It was just the first time trying anything
Yeah.
really, and like I wasn't really sure what Simba was used to, and if
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was matching the standard of what
Of
he
course,
was used
yeah.
to. So it definitely was in my head a lot, but like he was really encouraging as well. Like that's one thing I will give to him. Like he was really encouraging and really helpful, and yeah, he just made it better. But when I did put my headphones on, I did feel like, yeah, I have to do this. Like, yeah.
No, it's brilliant. And obviously you did some performances, you would have done some shows. Pandemic probably would have hit you because you're just kind of taking off when the pandemic hit. So that's a
Yeah.
bit annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I released my first song in the middle of 2019.
Yeah.
So literally the pandemic happened
Yeah.
like less than a year later. So it was a big hit. Like it was definitely a big difference. But I do feel like it allowed me, because I was only starting off, like I released my first song less than a year than before writing my first song. So because I was only starting out, I felt like it gave me a little bit of time to get better at my craft and just to like work on creating and writing better and stuff like that. So coming out of the pandemic, I definitely felt that I was so much better than I was going into the pandemic. So.
And the hunger, I mean, I think that you can't talk about hunger enough. It's in you or whatever, and you've always been self-aware that you've known that like you're not just happy to get to the studio, to get on stage, to do one thing, to get a little bit of, we talked about it in the car earlier, to get a little bit of local attention, and you're ambitious enough to go to London and to go bigger. But the interesting thing is you've got the hunger, and also that you're independent all the way. So let's talk about that. You've always been independent when I'm sure there's been offers of management, and it's like, I mean, obviously the trade-off is you've got the whole creative side of everything from visuals to there's no one kind of telling you to make some stupid pop song that you don't want to do.
No.
So to talk about being independent, because it's not easy either.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And I think at the start of my career, when I didn't know anybody and just wanted to get myself out there, like I was definitely reaching out to people, being like, will you manage me? Will you help me out? And no one really was. And that, I guess they just did not believe me at the time. So because of that, I kind of got a bit of like noise going myself, and I think because of that I've kind of been comfortable with being independent and not really having management, because I felt like I did it like at the start when I felt like I really needed someone there. So now I'm just kind of looking for the right, you know, people, like in order for me to like not be independent anymore, or for me to be, I guess, managed by somebody, it would just need to be the right people, because I've learned so much about like being an artist and managing artists myself, that it's not like necessarily something that like is an urgency for me to get right now, because
people really like the bigger people out there, whether they're labels or whoever else, management, agents, they do respect people having done it themselves, because there's multiple examples now of artists who've kind of gone that route. I mean, there's, whether it's blowing it up on SoundCloud, whether it's doing it and even in other things, like whether it's fashion, whether it's doing your own videos, whether it's doing your own style. No, it's been interesting. I have to say, been a fan from the start. We put Nothing Special on my 2020 Soul mixtape in the pandemic, when I was just like, oh my God, I was so frustrated that all these artists were here that most of like my audience wouldn't be aware of. And I never forget, I think your song was like, you and Zali were the second or third tracks, and I was like, these artists have to be, they're as good as, the only thing lacking here, I've always said, whether it's Cork or Dublin, we lack a little bit of the industry infrastructure, and now we've got a belated kind of, people are kind of talking a little bit about R&B, and artists from your background would say more, but it's still not on the same level that like some other artists are getting. There could be other complicated reasons for that. So tell us a little bit about you as from your identity person, like from that background. Tomike, Nigerian, very proud. I'm sure you mentioned some of the artists who've kind of paved the way, like Fela and Femi, his son, and actually one of his other sons who actually looks exactly like Fela and even performs like him. Sean Kuti, he's playing here for the Jazz Festival in a couple of weeks. I've seen him before, and he's got the whole Egypt 80 band. But so tell us about like what it feels like to be an African-Irish woman, independent artist from Dublin, but now in London. What does that feel like in 2022? Like you've got a whole array of we'll say artistry to give, so like looking forward as well, what's coming next, we'll say.
No, it definitely feels good. I think it's great for me to be able to kind of pave that way, like you said. Like I guess growing up I didn't have any black Irish artists to look up to.
That's a brilliant point. I
didn't have any African Irish artists like to look up to. It was definitely, so it makes me feel good that like generations to come will have me to look up to. Like, and other brilliant Irish artists that are doing amazing right now. Like
absolutely.
It makes me happy that my kids will definitely have people to look up to and give them a little bit of encouragement that like it is possible to do. As much as you like we didn't have anybody to look up to, but it is definitely possible. So yeah, it's a whirlwind. I mean, there's definitely pros and cons of being like in that situation, but it's a fun journey. Like it's definitely fun, and it's definitely something that I will like always remember and appreciate.
I still feel it's at the beginning anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm gonna be telling people in years to come, oh yeah, she did an interview with us back in the day. No, to be honest, we've been chatting for a couple of years, and I'm delighted to play the music and have you here, and also flying all the way in from London to do the interview here in Cork. Shows how hungry you are, and it's brilliant to have you, and we wish you best. So we're going to do a couple of tracks. You're going to do a laid back coach thing, because I know you can do the full band and you could do but obviously this is going to be more of a laid back thing. So what are you going to perform for us today?
So I'm going to be singing 2 songs from my EP that I recently dropped. The EP is called Take 2, and the 2 songs I'll be doing are Can't Find You and Another Life. So I hope you enjoy. Okay,
it's Tomike on Cork's Red FM, and she's going to be live in just a few moments. Thanks a million.
Thanks for having me.
I know we'll break, but I can't find you now. Holding faith, I know we'll wait, so I can't cry aloud. Oh, what a lovely day, a lovely day. On and on and on and on and on. On and on. I'm in a low-key place, I know we'll break, but I can't find you now. Holding faith, I know we'll break, so I can't cry aloud. Oh, what a lovely day, a lovely day. On and on and on and on and on. On and on. I know we'll wait, so I can cry aloud. Oh, what a lovely day, a lovely day. On and on and on and on and on. On and on. I'm in a low-key place, I know we'll break, but I can't find you now. Holding faith, I know we'll wait, so I can cry aloud. Oh, what a lovely day, a lovely day. On and on and on and on and on and on.
song is called Another Life, and it's from my brand new EP called Take Two, which is out on all platforms. Hope you enjoy.
Wanted us to regret, I never wanted us to fall out. We made mistakes and good things always come to an end. I see you on the other